Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for those of you who are listening in and either like stuck with me all these years, or maybe you didn't get a choice because you're my family, so you're just here because we're related or something. But for those of you who are also just checking back in, like, what does this girl have to say? That's cool too. I'm happy to share. So I just wanted to let you know a little bit about where I've been and where I want to go, and hopefully that will inspire or motivate, or maybe even just make somebody know that they aren't alone, because I think that we've all been there where it feels like we are the only ones dealing with whatever it is that we're dealing with. So let me put a disclaimer out there before I go into my story that I am fully aware that I am an adult and I make my own decisions and I put myself into my own situations, and it has led me to where I am. So can I say I would change it? Probably not, because otherwise this, I wouldn't be me. So almost 5 years ago, I had a very powerful weight loss transformation. I went from a size 24 to about a size 12, or like a triple XL, to a large, medium large, in about 6 months' time. And that was with a nutritional cleansing program that had been introduced to me by a very good friend, and it was awesome. What a crazy, amazing time. I won honorable mention in that company's big competition that they have every year, and I got to walk across the stage and have my portraits taken and hair and makeup done and a whole thing. But what people forget, or what that company wasn't able to provide, at least at that time, was, what do you do now, right? So you lost the weight, but now in your head, you are still a morbidly obese person who eats their feelings. So now what do you do? And then once you've lost the weight, and I got to a point where I felt skinny. I wasn't. I think I was healthy, but in my head, or when I looked at myself in the mirror, I thought, it was a little too little. And I didn't know how to maintain my weight after that. I only knew how to lose. So I wasn't really sure what the next steps were, and I didn't do a good job of reaching out and asking for help. So it is what it is, right? But around the same time that I won that honorable mention and all of these things, I also had a great job going. At the time, my kiddo is amazing. He's still great. But around that time, I found out that the man that I was dating was not exactly who I thought he was. He wasn't like putting on a mask or anything weird, but he hadn't been completely honest, I think, with himself, and thereby me, about some of his feelings on some pretty significant issues for me. And I thought for him. So I felt kind of blindsided by that. Like, if you don't know who you are in this area of your life, what other areas do you not know? And being a single mom, I had a lot more to think about than just whether or not we're gonna hit up the movies next weekend, right? I've got to think about this person who's influencing my little man and helping him to grow up. And if my boyfriend, if he wasn't sure, how could he help me? And so mutually, we decided to part ways, and clearly that was the best decision for both of us. But it left me in a vulnerable state. It left me in a situation that I don't think I was prepared for, to have this to be living in this completely weird body that I didn't recognize at all. Like you guys know, I've always had a challenge with my weight, and so I literally hadn't been that small since I was like 10 years old. I mean, it's crazy to think about now, but it's true. So I was single, vulnerable, confused, going into a busy season at work, and fell into, I guess, sure, it was conscious, but ended up in an affair with a married man. And huge mistake, obviously, right? Like, Hollywood likes to glorify whatever, but it just isn't. It's not. No. Nothing good. Nothing good comes of that. It was a very short-lived situation. I ended it very quickly, but I also found myself feeling very similarly to how I felt at the end of my previous relationship. And the reason that I felt that way is because here is another man who is putting on a front in so many scenarios, and then is somebody completely different behind closed doors, or the second his wife leaves the house, or whatever, right? Supposed family man, not so much. So I found myself playing defense. And I don't want to ramble on, so I'm going to try to make this what it needs to be. But so I found myself playing defense and constantly being prepared for something that may or may not come my way, not trusting anybody, seeing through everybody, thinking that nobody likes me for me, that there's got to be an ulterior motive. I wouldn't say that it was a paranoia as much as a defense mechanism. Just constantly being ready for whatever may be thrown my way, and sometimes doing it under the guise of parenting, finding different excuses for living that way. I ended up in a relationship with a very nice guy, and I basically blew that with my own insecurities and being convinced that there was more to the story than there really was. And so, that was what it was, another learning opportunity, right? I also, in the middle of that, I bought a house. I joined a different nutritional company that was more about eating right and exercising. What I found with that is that that's not something that works for everybody, right? Like a 600-pound guy on the couch isn't going to be able to get up and do some P90X. So it was unfortunate. I felt like I couldn't help people with that program as much as I really wanted to. I also found that the exercise didn't have a huge impact for me on my overall health. Maybe I lost a few inches, maybe my body composition is a little bit different now, where, I've got, I'm more muscular, more proportioned and all that good stuff. But the truth is that right now I'm smaller than I was at my heaviest, but I am my heaviest that I've ever been again. My pant size are smaller, so that's got to have something to do with working out, right? But otherwise I'm back up there. So clearly that didn't work. And, my position at my day job changed. There's been a lot that has gone on as far as that goes. And then about 1.5 years ago, I got married. I met a man and we became a blended family. So he's got 3 kids, 2 of which we have part-time, and the third one is actually about to move in full-time. That's a 15-year-old. And then, of course, I still have Coltrane, and so it's a whole other adjustment going on there. So that is a fun part of life. And again, I wouldn't change it for anything. I always wanted a million kiddos running around. I did not know that this is how it would happen, but here we are, right? So, the thing is that at the end of the day, by the grace of God, I am so grateful that we can come back from anything. And you don't have to wait until the first of the year to make a resolution. You don't have to wait until Monday. You don't have to wait until tomorrow. You can start over every single hour if you need to. And there's a lot of times that that's exactly what I do. That I have to take a step back and realize that I am worthy and I am lovable and I am valued. And even if nobody in front of me seems to feel that way, that is the truth. And I have to find that within myself, and I get it from my relationship with my God. And it's amazing what freedom that there really is in that, to know that I am not my story.